Are we going to see some of them? Maybe, because you can never know how much the Chinese pro teams have been practicing on it. It's a little bit, you know, left hanging in the stars, but I would certainly hope that we're going to see some of them.
If you were to make a prediction, which of the heroes that have been changed do you think are going to be used, if any? I have a prediction that Leoric will 100% see play or bans.
Absolutely. Leoric is definitely going to see some play. Out of all the reworks, I feel him to be the strongest right now. He's a very solid character. He was even used before, right? That's probably one of the main differences towards the other ones as well. While Morales and Chromie were used as well, Jaina not so much. Leoric was probably used a little bit more frequently, at least in China. And yeah, look at Kid's mask here, by the way. This is getting a little bit out of hand. This looks exceptionally cool, becoming a superhero of some sort.
Yeah, I'm liking it. But if you're gonna wear something to keep everyone else healthy, you might as well look badass doing it.
Oh, I think we might have lost Tetra's communication here. Let's see. Hopefully, is he still in Discord? Maybe it's something on your microphone. Maybe you press the mute button by accident. I'm just gonna take over until I hear his lovely voice again. And so yeah, for those of you who are wondering why Kid is wearing the mask, just a quick intro to Asian habits and culture. If you're feeling sick or if you have basically an illness, you want to use a mask so you don't spread that disease to others. Very cool thing, but might look a little bit weird when you're not from Korea or Japan or China or any other of those Asian countries. But let's focus on the draft here for now. Nothing new on the Chinese front. We basically see a Vala being banned on the side of BTG, whereas Ariel gets denied and shut down by Hod's Lady. Here we go. Tassadar is still making it to the first pick despite all the new reworks, so it seems like none of the two teams here really wants to give high priority to, let's say, the reworked Leo or the reworked Jaina. I think those two are probably going to be the hottest candidates of getting shown today. I think Jaina is going to be a lot more viable thanks to her earlier access to the Ice Block now, the improved Ice Block, I should say. And Leoric, of course, basically doesn't have any bad talent these days. You can build him in multiple ways, and you're still going to get a lot of value and combat performance results out of it.
There we go.
Tetra's back. Awesome.
I thought it was you who DC'd, actually, but it turns out it was me. So I couldn't hear you for a second, but everything else was still running, so I left and rejoined.
No problem, no problem. Welcome back.
Nice.
I was basically just saying that out of all the newly reworked heroes, I expect Jaina and Leoric to come out because Jaina is a lot more viable right now thanks to the improved Ice Block. That could happen a lot earlier if you're having a good game. And Leoric, of course, I said that technically speaking, Leoric doesn't have a single bad talent in his kit right now. Every talent is at least acceptably good. Some of them are just better than others.
Completely agreed. Like, overall, I think his talent tiers are incredibly balanced. There's nothing that's hugely higher than the others. It's just the entire hero, in my opinion, is relatively high up there at the moment. So let's have a look at some of the other heroes that have been picked. ETC and Lunara coming out. So a bit of lockdown. Tass Lunara isn't the... It's a combo that happens quite often, but doesn't get the most value. But Lunara can take an attack speed talent or an attack damage talent, which can, in theory, synergize with the Leeching Plasma. We just don't see it very often because Splintered Spear is really good. Wait, does she gain healing from all 3 spears in Splintered Spear? I feel like that's something I should know.
I'm probably not, because it basically counts as an ability. Although I could be wrong. I mean, it deals normal auto attack damage, so
yeah. Hang on. Let's look at the wording.
Yeah.
Splintered Spear using Doctor's Bottom causes Lunara's next basic attack to hit up to 4 enemies.
Well, I guess it works.
Extra attack. So yeah, I assume it works. So nice, little bit of spam heal in there. Cool.
It's actually amazing to see that we have never seen this combo in the league before, so
I mean,
we never saw it live in action.
Noticed.
Yeah.
Like, we've definitely seen these two together. We just haven't noticed or registered it.
There we go. So we're gonna
for all we know, it could just not work. We could just be wrong.
We're gonna pay special attention to Lunara and Tassadar's synergy, and if we don't, then I'm pretty sure Twitch chat is definitely gonna take notes and let us know afterwards. But I'm really excited to see the overall impact of Lunara, and so far none of the newly reworked heroes has found their way. What I do like to highlight here, though, is the Vala ban. We have seen a lot of Malthael bans over the course of the last few days and weeks in the other regions. Malthael doesn't seem to be a priority here. Uther still first pick material, quite surprising to see with the rise of Rhaegar as of late. What do you make of the draft so far? Does it strike you that the Chinese team still play like they used to a few weeks ago?
At the risk of sounding, even with these two picks, at the risk of sounding a bit too, I don't know the word, a bit too Valley Girl, a bit too hip even. These drafts are looking pretty basic.
Yeah.
At the risk of that, there's nothing super out of the ordinary here. Even the Illidan. Fish has shown this Illidan to be exceptional here. You can see that one loss they have managed with it, one win, but the win was superb, and even the loss they suffered with it was pretty close. So putting Fish on this Illidan is almost always a safe bet, especially with one tank already being chosen. It kind of forces Hots Lady into a double tank, double support if they want to try and counteract that Illidan with an Arthas.
Exactly. Arthas is still left available, and it would make a lot of sense in the roster for Hots Lady as well. ETC, the wonderful thing about ETC is the fact that you can play him as a full tank going for Mosh Pit, or you can play him as an off tank going for the stage dive. But look at that. The Sonya and the Brightwing coming in. That's a lot of ability damage coming in against the Illidan and a lot of crowd control. That Brightwing could really ruin his day.
It is. So this is potentially focusing down the Illidan as opposed to reducing his efficiency. That's going to be very cool to see. And of course, Brightwing is fantastic against Illidan as long as she can get the Emerald Winds off and not get stun locked in time. Very cool to see. On the other side, we actually see a hero we don't see that often. The Falstad has made his way into a draft.
Yeah, Falstad basically being deployed here on Curse Hollow, which, as you said, has become a rare sight. I never thought I would say this, but he's just fallen off a little bit compared to other ranged assassins that have kind of stolen the show, right? The Vala becoming such a huge impact on the Chinese region. We have, you know, other mages every now and then, like the Chromie, like the Li Ming, but most importantly, it's just the Greymane, it's the Illidan, it's melee assassins in general that oftentimes do not leave any space for Falstad still to be picked.
Yeah, we've even seen Ragnaros starting to get picked above Falstad in the previous weeks. Whether that will continue, we will see. But they have now a little bit of global potential. In fact, they have double global potential if they want the hunt. But this Falstad may open Illidan up to go for Metamorphosis and go for that fight safety instead.
There's actually a lot of global potential for both teams if you consider a stage dive possibility for the ETC, which, you know, is not likely going to happen given the fact that there is a Sonya in their team, but it could still happen if, you know, they have a special plan, if they want to have someone counter-soaking the Illidan hunt.
Very true, or the Falstad in general.
Or the Falstad,
we've seen stage dive run repeatedly before. What interrupts do they have? The hunt, Muradin, they have a decent amount of interrupts, so it could happen.
Could happen. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to dive into the action here. Game 1 between BGT and, of course, their opponents, Hots Lady. And on the left-hand side, starting day 1 of week 3 here for HGC China, we see Beyond the Game with A on the Falstad, 619 on the Muradin, Fish on Illidan, MJ on Uther, and ST plays the Greymane.
Whereas on the right-hand side, it is going to be Hots Lady. And playing for them, it is going to be 365 playing the Lunara. Again on the Brightwing, Lias on Tassadar, Kid on Sonya, and Carlo is going to be on the ETC.
So cool to see the resurgence of ETC throughout all the major regions. No matter if you watch EU, NA, Korea, or China now, the cow is back. And already I think the rise of ETC made so many other heroes viable again, or should I say more viable again. You see Tyrande happening a lot in Korea. The stun chains are real, taking us back to older times with the stun meta. It's just so cool how things have finally started to deviate and shift away from the double support meta. Although Tassadar is still, you know, a very, very good choice these days.
Yes, he is. Still an exceptionally strong hero in general. Illidan, you can see, already putting on pressure. This is an unusual lane. Illidan, Greymane, and Uther all laning together. Now, any combo of these two would be fine, like, except maybe Illidan and Greymane. All three of them together, unless the defense rotation potentially happens here, this lane's gonna die.
Yeah, this lane is gonna die, as you said, Tetra, because the most important thing when pushing a lane is, of course, consistent and fast damage. And guess what? Illidan and Greymane, some of the hardest hitting heroes, some of the fastest attacking heroes in the game, they're gonna tear down those front wall much quicker than, let's say, Lunara and a Tassadar could. However, A on the fall side getting a little bit troubled and bothered here, and I think overall BTG is doing a good job though. They're definitely picking up a lot pace and a lot of speed.
Kid, as you can see here, is actually probably the only reason this lane is going to survive as long as it will. Fish going deep, and ST finishes him off. Again, tried to teleport to him when he was a couple feet away. That was ambitious, to say the least. But you can see here how low Fish is, and this is all down to Sonya. She is the reason that this lane will survive as long as it is, due to the fact that a lot of people, she is a melee assassin, because she is a assassin that goes into melee range, but Dreadnought describes it perfectly as she is more of a melee mage. Almost all of her damage is actually power damage, and as such, she's able to drop through that Illidan evasion pretty well, and this is why a lot of ports have been forced, and as such, Fish has to go back to the usual good old-fashioned strategy of grabbing some early mercs. Sonya is doing it for her team, knowing that Illidan has already left.
Yeah, the timing in both of those teams is absolutely fantastic. Like, we saw Illidan dropping very low in health. He probably couldn't have done the mercenary camp with 20% left on his health bar, but he teleported back in time, managed to get there with a 2-minute mark and started those siege giants just like Sonya did. So overall, both teams still equal in terms of pressuring one of the side lanes, while the first tribute is probably going to arrive in just a few seconds.
So Sonya going with the focused attacks here, and I personally believe this is a bit too ambitious. Sonya was able to finish the Merc camp, and unfortunately does arrive a bit too late to likely save this for 1 minion remaining, and they're going to stay and risk it. That was nearly bad news, but able to jump to the wall instead. Unfortunately, this just means this fort will be alive in time for the tribute. There's no fountain, though, so this is still going to be very rough for Hots Lady. And as such, you can see they are still committing. Everyone is on the way down. Tassadar and Lunara on the way from mid. Kid already taking harassment from the bot lane.
Yeah, BTG, they want to look for a fight here. However, the reinforcements for Hots Lady have arrived, and they're going to focus on ST here.
Lot of focus onto him. Beautiful whirlwind onto ST, and he is dropped, but down goes ETC in exchange. Good polymorph onto Illidan. Tick poison, but heal from MJ should be enough. Falstad came down here and then realized, oh, we've already lost Greymane. Even though it's a 1-for-1, everyone's too low. It makes more sense for me to soak up as much XP as possible and try and get us a little lead. And as such, they do come out ahead in XP, and he gets back to top lane in reasonable time.
Yeah, did you see that poison spread on the side of Hots Lady?
Oh, yes.
That was more than enough poke to really guarantee that BTG was in no condition to keep up fighting over the first tribute. Falstad, as you said, he realized it very, very early and was like, no, I'm probably just going to chill middle and get a little bit more value elsewhere because my teammates are way too low to pick up the fight. Now, the reason why Lunara could have such a, you know, devastating impact for BTG is Uther. We talked about this relationship that the two have multiple times in the past, but Uther, due to the way his kit works, is not designed to be a strong AoE sustained healer like Malfurion, for example, or Rhaegar. So the fact that they might be a little bit too weak when it comes to those longer drawn out sustained fights might be a weakness for BTG. I think they really have to show up in good condition and look for a fight very quickly and very fast.
Possibly, as we do see this top fort going down. Bots already died. Even trade 1-for-1, and just in time for the next tribute. So now the shoe is on the other foot. BTG lost the tribute when their opponents did not have the fountain. This time, they're in a position where they don't have a fountain. This could be a rough tribute attempt for them. Comes Greymane, will interrupt the tribute for now as 619 taking lots of damage. Way better positioning for Hots Lady. They have everyone here far quicker, and as such, this may be the death of Uther taking the southern route. 619 in for the interrupt. Tribute already taken. Falstad arriving. They're going to try to at least get some kills. They're so low already. They're just getting kited here. This is terrible. Carlo even escapes here. Kid is trying to stay alive as well. Gets cleansed. The cocktail finishes him off though. Good snipe. A little bit of saving grace there for Greymane, and nice hammerang.
Absolutely turning it up here with that hammering over the wall, catching Lunara as the deer was trying to run away from the bird. But Just like in real life, a bird of prey oftentimes is the more deadly foe to face. Now, beautifully done, and that alone secured BTG the tribute. I never thought they would be able to get it because the poison once again ticked so strong against the heroes. Illidan falling so rapidly and ETC surviving, but in the end it was all good. BTG now taking a massive lead in experience as well, gaining access to their heroic abilities a little bit sooner.
Yep, Mighty Gust, go for the throat, not going to go for that burst damage. ETC, not one of the highest hit point tanks, so you could lose a little bit of value.
Yeah.
It is going to be Metamorphosis, Avatar, and it is going to be Divine Shield. So all in on that Illidan protection.
I think there's two reasons why Illidan went Metamorphosis here. I think the first one is, judging from how those teamfights went so far, I think he realized that he needs more survivability against that Lunara poke. I don't think the Hunt would have really gotten him too much value. And also, they already have a Falstad, so they normally already have a dedicated side pusher, side soaker. So why have two of those when you just need one? And I think the Metamorphosis overall with that Divine Shield is going to make him a lot more resilient and a lot more able to really threaten the backlines of Hot's Lady.
So here's an interesting strategy by BTG. They completely ignored the tribute, giving the enemy team a curse. Oh, Falstad's here. Could try a gust from behind. It is a mosh pit for ETC, so this could be rough. Oh, the Divine Shield already expiring. Emerald wins a disengage. Huge damage, and Illidan gets destroyed by that leaping strike.
Can we just say how well a game played on that Brightpick, but hold that thought, the battle is not over just yet, it still rages on, but I think BGG has to retreat here. They have to retreat. Their main carry is no longer in the game, at least for another 8 seconds. They're going to have to wait and give up this fort. They have to defend the side lanes as well. Mercenary camps pushing in the bottom. Minions already knocking at the door here in the top lane as well. But can we just take a moment here to appreciate the Brightwing's plays? Not only did she use the Emerald Wind in time, she also comboed off the Polymorph right before the Metamorphosis could have been used. So big play coming in by again on Hot's Lady.
Yeah, with the Divine Shield already popped way earlier in the fight onto Greymane. Illidan was a sitting duck there, and as such was taken out. Now the boss that BTG got did at least lower a little bit of pressure onto that bot lane. Unfortunately, it only got towers, didn't get any keep damage. It's only opened up. Now we're seeing Hot's Lady making the most of their advantage, grabbing their own boss. Once again, going into a lane that is unprotected. So here's the question of where they're going to go with this. They should try and put pressure somewhere else on the map while that boss is being a distraction. Looks like that's what they're going to do. For now, they're hiding from vision in mid lane because the minion wave has yet to arrive. The Chinese casters, their Chinese observers, did actually highlight an important thing, and that is the bottom fountain did die.
Exactly. Fountains can never be, or should never be, underestimated. The importance of fountains can oftentimes make or break the capture of a map objective. If you don't have the possibility to retreat while your enemies can come back rejuvenated and refreshed, you're most likely going to end up being in a bad spot. So really cool to see that the the observers focus on those tiny little details as well. Now, 13 around the corner for Hot's Lady. They're going to have to fight on even terms if they want to secure another tribute. And it's just so cool to see that BTG, despite losing the last few skirmishes, is still ahead by a pretty significant margin in overall XP.
Yeah, making the absolute most of that global potential. They are able to soak very effectively, especially due to the fact that Falstad does have slightly more efficient wave clear than the global on the side of Hot's Lady, aka the Brightwing here.
Yep, definitely true. You can see the value of globals. You can see the value of knowing when to let go. Very important. I say that on my streams all the time. It is important to know when to let go. Don't always go for a fight. Don't always be like a Chinese team. I mean, I still can't forget the mercenary all-in we saw yesterday between, I think it was SBT and BTG. It was crazy.
Last week, yeah. Oh, that was unnecessary but fun. But clearly, if that's the advice you give out on your stream, you've never watched Titanic, because the clear advice from that film was don't let go, and also you could both fit on that. As we do see the tributes falling in the bot lane, BTG have yet to grab a tribute this entire game. And it looks like they're not going to start now. They're just, once again, they're ditching it. They're grabbing a bruiser camp. Murin is here to delay. Eats a poison spear to the face, though, and that's probably going to be the end of their attempt at this tribute. There you go. Hot's Lady grab another.
Yeah, very nicely done. Hot's Lady, they go for another one. We kind of have to wonder, I mean, don't get me wrong, this tribute was basically almost non-important at all. It was just the first one for the Hot's Ladies. If BTG wasn't in position, there's no reason to contest it. Once again, they took a mercenary camp, they soaked a little bit more. They can afford to play patiently, wait until the 16, which is probably going to hit a little bit sooner. But you still have to wonder when BTG is going to turn up the heat, because their combination, or their composition I should say, thrives when it comes to aggression. But so far BTG has been the ones who react rather than the ones that act.
Indeed, they've been very safe. Oh, danger, danger! High voltage! Mosh pit is dropped! Look at Uther, he's like, I can do nothing here. He's gonna just let it happen. Avatar trying to keep Muradin alive, but he gets deleted. S needs to beat the quest, good job, but he's on the run here. Gets stunned out and will drop down here. And that was a very nice bush gank by Hot Lady.
I can't believe how quickly Carlo pulled the trigger there as well. He was like, yep, C2 enemy heroes, I'm going in, guys. You better protect me. And other teams, or other...
One of them was one of the only 2 heroes that can interrupt Mosh.
Exactly.
The other one's top lane. They can see him. He's clearing minions.
So, you really have to give a lot of respect to the lightning speed reflexes here that Carlo had, and the team was basically on the same page. They were like, yep, we're right behind you, go for it. And then, of course, we had beautiful cleanse coming in from Brightwing as well. Greymane was popped immediately. Uther, as he said, there was nothing he could do other than watch. It was almost like he was not invited to the dance party. He was like, nah, not getting in, not cool enough.
Yeah, he didn't have a Divide Shield. Actually, no, I think he had it up and he used it. Headlights on cooldown, but
yeah,
did not work out here. There's something I want to talk about that hasn't really come into effect yet so far, which is really good for Hot Lady. And that's the fact that Sonya went for focused attacks here. Now, this is good, great damage, etc. But she did not go for the cooldown reduction on Whirlwind, meaning she has a little bit less survivability here, considering there's Skullcracker on the other team, and of course, Uther stuns. Rip Tass, not even able to dimensional shift.
No, the stun chain was real. Absolutely no chance for Tassadar to get out of there alive. He was like, get out of here.
Oh, Willerton. Oh, Willerton. Come on, Fish.
Uther too, you're not supposed to get hit by those, because if you get rooted, you're most likely going to get hit by that AoE stun slam as well, but nothing's going to happen. But it takes away unnecessary mana, you know, from Uther. He could have saved a little bit more, and mana management, very important. I can't believe, by the way, that they gave up another curse just to get the boss. Now,
6 tributes in a row. Are you serious?
So here's the thing. True, they got the boss. True, they already destroyed the bottom fort, so it's going to march right at the keep. But can they push with it? Probably not, because sooner or later, they're going to take some crippling damage in the middle and top lane if they fully commit on this boss rush. So, Hot Lady, though, they need to defend this. Holy cow. they just can't ignore it.
That's the thing. BTG, they are playing this really, really weirdly, but really well.
They're going to lose the game.
So much pressure on them. Every time there's a curse, they grab a boss. And the fact is, because the very first structures that they killed was bottom fort, it always goes on to tier 2s. Like you said, the keep's going to die. They even just put some pressure on the top boss.
No way.
In case they all went down for the defense, they can try and grab that. Down it goes. First keep of the game. Going over to BTG, they're moving up to the Hot Lady boss as well, putting the pressure on, preventing any push potential with this curse. Falstad clearing the only lane that's being threatened. This is beautiful map control. This is how you stay ahead in a game where you don't grab a single... Nice one. This is how you stay ahead in a game where you don't grab a single objective.
And I mean, the thing was, Hot Lady, they were thinking of going outside of their base. They were thinking of going for the defense as well. But if they had defended in the bottom, then they would have left the other boss wide open, and BTG could have maybe taken that as well. But hold that thought. Sonya is getting double stunned. Brightwing coming in to help her, though.
Slightly not as successful as the ETC equivalent. Get absolutely destroyed, Illidan. The CC, too much for him to deal with. There's even a ETC imposing presence here, making his job so much harder. And we're going to see Hot Lady attempting to grab a boss.
I just can't believe how on point this Brightwing is when it comes to single-handedly shutting down Illidan and ruining his life here. Now, for future fights, what I want to see from the Illidan is maybe use the Metamorphosis to engage right after Muradin jumps in, because I think the additional HP that you get could keep you alive long enough, but it's so hard to really make that call because you normally want to bait a little bit of damage onto your Illidan body before you finally use the Metamorphosis, and the enemy team would have wasted these resources in vain. Now, that boss, they need to get some value. Nobody saw that NA spear here, by the way, by Kid. No, nobody saw that.
NA spear and NA Stormbolt, that's fine, they're trading. It's good. Actually, no, I would argue that's EU Stormbolt, the Muradin one at least, because the origination of the person who would miss the easiest Stormbolts was Nomi. When it was on well met. And then he became really, really good. That was the thing. Do you remember that back in the day? Speaking of which, this keep should survive. They should clear this unless... Oh, Carlo threatening. And now they could be punished here. Fish gets dropped to half health so quickly, though. I'll finish where I fought in a second here, as we do see the boss getting cleared up. So yeah, do you remember like the rule of Nomi from back when he played on Well Met?
I remember.
Yep, if he has a Storm Bolt short range, then he's gonna miss it. If he has a hook max range, he's always gonna hit it. That was the rule. He was incredible on the harder to hit skill shots and a bit worse on the easier to hit ones.
Sometimes the point-blank skill shots are the most trickiest to face. All right, so there's going to be another battle. Both teams at the gate here of level 20. Who's going to take victory here? Illidan going in with the forces this time. Yeah, leading with it. Emerald Wind does hit him, but look at this. This time he has health. Here's the mosh pit. Only Muradin in it. And Greymage is going to try and kill him. And he does. That's how you get rid of a mosh pit. You kill the user. Fish still alive in the background. Sonya isolated. And BTG, patience is a virtue. As they shred through this team fight, they chase down Brightwing. They're not even going to get the tribute. They're going for the end pulse that's already flown to end the game. They're going to win a game without taking a single tribute, as they go to end the game with 3 catapults, 30 seconds before the Lunara, the nearest one, is alive. Brightwing and Tassadar to try and save the game. It's going to be a very hard defense. Greymane and Illidan, so hard to catch, so much damage. The false set gust is just the icing on the cake here. Beautiful display by BTG, as Tetra said, not going for a single tribute, just playing the map, defending like champs, and of course that one boss call was so important, denying the value from Hot Sladey, facing them to ignore that bottom keep because the other boss would have been left open, and of course, since there was no more keep, they could just go Core, and they could just take game number 1. That was superb map control all game for BTG. It's like, I don't have words for that. Even at the end, they didn't grab the tribute. It's just like, we don't need this. We don't want to ruin our ratio. But it was very much knowing when to pull the trigger. They found there was a couple fights that went a bit too wonky for them. But like you said, what Illidan needed to start doing, they adjusted. When that's when it started going in their favor. They learned what wasn't working, and they didn't just throw themselves at it repeatedly and hope it works. They adjusted their strategy, and that's why they came out on top.